For all things outdoors, listen to the father of two, the Jesus-loving TV show hosting hairy, true-blood American redneck, Ben Cole.
And listen to the outdoor filming, chef cooking, chocolate milk drinking, John Weismuller. And we are
Rooted Podcast.
This week, we're joined by a very special guest, a friend of ours that we met at the NWTF convention, Mr. Ryan from Pattern Pros. How we doing, Ryan?
We are doing excellent. I got off shift this morning, only one call yesterday, and sun's shining, and I can already hear the birds gobbling, so I'm ready to roll.
And you're fired up, ready to rip, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Ben, how's it going over there?
Oh man, it's going good as always. Just another sunshining day. Turkeys running through the farms. You know, about to burn some fields off to get ready to plant some corn and soybeans. So we're ripping for spring.
Right on. There's
What
a
about you?
lot going on this time of year.
Oh
That is
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, what about
you? Man, I'm just same thing. I'm actually all packed up, and I leave tomorrow night, headed down to Florida, getting ready to chase some black-wing Osceolas, trying to get my first one on the ground there. So
Nice.
I'm excited, man. I'm just ready. I'm just ready, man. Ryan, listen, I don't know if you know this about me, but my favorite thing in the world to do is turkey hunt. So the fact that I can now have the ability to start early in a different state, it fires me up, man.
Oh, I bet. That just makes it better. Just extends your season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my nephew's actually got a chance to go hunt. I think some private ground over the weekend. So they each actually killed an Osceola
Oh, nice.
over the weekend. So hopefully you join them in knocking that one off the Grand Slam list.
I sure hope so, man.
Yeah, and then I'm headed
really
down
do.
to Florida the 19th. So next Tuesday we'll be driving down there, and then we'll hunt there from the 19th to the 22nd, and then go straight to Alabama and hunt till the 29th. So we got a pretty busy 2 weeks here coming up.
Sounds like it. So
I can't wait till I'm older and I can just retire. And maybe one of these days I would love to try and get like a Grand Slam actually in a season.
Yeah,
same.
that'd be pretty.
That'd
Yeah,
be
same
awesome.
here. Same here. I'll definitely want to get a Grand Slam.
And then if I'm traveling like that, I can just tell my wife it's work related. It's a tax write off. So
Hey, there you go.
That's
See?
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. So, out of all these things that you've done, and thank you for your service, in the Marines.
Yes.
Thank you
absolutely.
so much for that. But, John mentioned that you were one of the guys at Pattern Pro. So what made you guys kind of dive into that, get that started? Where did that come from?
So it's me, my buddies Christian and Brody. We all were stationed together in California, and it was about a year and a half ago. Brody and I were on the phone, and he was frustrated because he got a new shotgun, so he was trying a couple different shells out. He's like, dude, they both just patterned like crap. Like, he just was not. He was just not happy. He is like I really, like I've said it before, but it's like a master of his craft where he has to get as close to perfection as he can. And so he was just real frustrated. He's like, dude, like I'm not gonna take either of these boxes of shells hunting. Like they're not hunt worthy. And so it was kind of like, well, what can we do to just figure that out and make that better? And I bet it was within a few minutes span, 5 minutes, where we kind of started going back and forth. And I don't know who said it, but it was like, hey, what if we had more than one type of shell in a single box, actually allowing you to try out a bunch of shells instead of just spending a bunch of money on boxes of shells that several of them you may never even shoot again. They may just sit on your shelf and just collect dust. And so it was like, yes, all right, let's do that. And I went and talked to some friends and family who are big hunters, that day, and I think the next day, and I think I called Brody that next night and was, dude, let's freaking do this. Like there's nothing else out there like it that any of these people have heard of. And so it just kind of started to snowball. So then we brought Christian in, and it was just kind of one thing after another. We started figuring stuff out. So we started with waterfowl. That's what we all kind of really started hunting together. And so it's 8 different types of shell with 3 of each shell in a single box. So you got 24 shells. And amongst that, you've got pattern pack 1, pattern pack 2. So a total of 16 different types of shell. And then each one of those has shot size 2 and then shot size 3. And then right now we have our 20 gauge box, which is 8 different types, but just shot size 2. So we're looking to expand that. We're doing the Delta Waterfowl show here soon. So we're going to expand that. But now, John, as a big turkey hunter, the turkey box that we just came out with will probably excite you a little bit more.
There we go.
So we kind of we've been messing around with it. And originally it was 3 shells in a box, a cheap shell, a mid-grade, and then an expensive shell, a TSS shell. But just wasn't getting as good a traction on it, so we switched it up, and kind of due to our relationships with some of these ammo companies, it's allowed us to make the price actually attainable. So now we have 5 different shells in a single box. And it's the age-old question of, hey, what shell, what choke in this gun? And it's nonstop. So it's, yeah, I mean, we have 2 different 12 packs, or 12 gauge, and then 2 different 20 gauge packs. So it's, we have all lead load pack for 12 gauge, and then we have an all TSS box for 12 gauge, and then pretty much the same thing with 20. It's a little bit different. There's a couple TSS loads in one box, and then the second box will be all TSS. So 5 different TSS loads, and it's actually going to be cheaper to buy that all TSS box for 5 shells than it would be to go out and buy your average, normal TSS box.
Nice. So what's your favorite shell to shoot turkey hunting wise?
So honestly, until recently, I hadn't messed around with a whole lot. I had shot last year the cheapest stuff possible. And I patterned it. So I knew what it was going to do. It was the Winchester Super X. I think 3-inch number 4s or 5s. I can't remember. And I knew, I was like, all right, I can't shoot any farther past 40 yards. Just not going to do what I need it to do. But I mean, I killed my Tom last year at 25 yards, and he's dead as they come. But we get a lot of messages about people asking us, hey, what do you recommend for this gun and this choke? And it's just it's so hard. You can't ever give anybody like the actual answer that they want. There's so many different options nowadays with so many different shells, and then so many different choke tubes and so many different guns. And then within those, there's different, it may be this choke tube and it may have patterned like crap, but you either open up or constrict it more, and all of a sudden it's a completely different pattern. So it's so hard to give people the answer that you're never giving them the answer they're actually looking for. But hopefully for us, we can just give them, hopefully if they just buy a box, that's going to really give them the answer that's giving them the answer that they want. But
right. So, you're talking about, having different options to pattern your guns and things like that. So let's dive in real quick to patterning the gun, like what's the importance. So I've got a funny story to tell you guys. Last year I had a group of dudes out. This guy had just bought this shotgun from a pawn shop, and I said, hey man, you need to shoot your gun. You need to make sure that it's patterning correctly. You need to make sure that, first of all, the barrel's not warped. I mean, that stuff can happen when you're buying a used gun from a pawn shop. So
Yeah.
Needless to say, he's like, no, man, I'm good. I was like, why don't you shoot my gun? I know that it's shooting right. You can just take mine, call it a day, kill a turkey. No, he was dead set on shooting that gun. And we get out there at our ranch here, Sinking Creek Ranch, and chasing this bird up the mountain. So he was halfway up the mountain. So we're zigzagging to get up there. Finally get up there. The bird's stuck in a strut zone, won't go anywhere. He's just going back and forth, back and forth. And for anybody that doesn't know what a strut zone is, that bird ain't going nowhere. He's going to walk about 10 yards one way, turn around and go 10 yards the other way, and just continue that circle. So obviously there was a hen up there somewhere that he was trying to impress or something. Something had him locked in right there. So needless to say, the short of that part of the story, he gets to 40 yards, or my buddy crawls up to him because there was an embankment going down the road where they made the road, and he crawls down by that and comes up and shoots a couple times and misses both times. And I mean, hey, misses happen, right? I've missed my fair share of turkeys, especially when they're super close. I was like, man, I hate that. Dang. I thought, well, we'll just chalk that one up as, that was a tough shot. Get down the mountain. Here come two more. So him and his buddy were going to double up. Well, I hit that call one time at the bottom of the mountain. I said, hey, we're going to try it right here, see if we can locate a bird. One cluck, and they just hammered. I said, sit here right now. They sat down. I walked around behind them and started calling while I was walking before I could get set down. So I'm still standing up, just kind of propped on a tree because I could see the birds coming. Before I even could get set down, here they come. I mean, they are running to us because they thought we were on around the corner. Well, those guys were sitting on the corner. I was on around the corner. So they come in, put on a show, blow up. The guy on the right, swoon, smashes that turkey. The guy on the left, boom, 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 whiffed. 3 shots. I said, brother, that is an expensive morning. I said, dude, you got to go shoot your gun, man. And he said, man, I should have used your gun. I said, yeah, I told you that's what you needed to do. But nonetheless, man, that was tough. So anyway, he went back home and patterned it, and it was like 15 inches off. I was like, yeah, I think you need a barrel. It's time for a new barrel on that one, but it just goes to show you the importance of actually patterning your gun to see which shell actually works the best with your setup, your choke, your actual gun. There's so many factors that play into that, so that's what I think of every time I think of what you guys are doing is need to go pattern your gun.
It's kind of I see it on Facebook groups or talking to people, and they're like, I bought 4 or 5 different boxes of shells, and I'm like, dude, like that gets expensive. Even if just one of those boxes is TSS, you're over $100 like right off the bat. And it's man, that's I don't know if some of these guys have got a little bit more free reign with in terms of just spending money.
Yeah,
right.
But I'm not coming home. Hey, babe, I just spent $100 on ammo on something that I don't know if it's going to work or not.
Yeah,
I'm good on that.
Yeah, same here.
Because I grew up kind of the same way. It's just like my dad, God bless him. He was just like, here you go, boy. Here's some shells. Heck, it'll shoot out of the gun. Yeah, it'll be all right. And it's like, all right, I didn't know any better, And then I started missing whether it was big bucks or it was turkeys and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then he's like, oh well, I mean, I guess we could have patterned it. It's like, yeah, that would have been pretty all right had we done that. Yeah, I had no idea. And I've got 3 different kinds of shells I'm shooting at this bird, so it's shooting 3 different kinds of ways. I mean, it's just something we never did until I got a little older and I started research. I'm like sighting in a rifle. What does that even mean? Like I have no idea what's going on. And now obviously I kind of know what I'm doing, but I mean it really is important for people to pattern their shotguns before they go out, because man, the last thing you want to do is miss a big old bird.
Oh yeah.
I think some of it is just people being they're being kind of naive.
Sure.
Or where they may not just know any better. I see it a lot of the time. We're talking with duck hunters, which is something we're really trying to change. Is like, well, yeah, just you shoot BBs, like it just spreads them out there, and you're like, well, yeah, like that's like the very dumbed down version, but there's a lot more going into it.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of daunting with how many different options are out there for you now. But you still have some guys they're out there that they're shooting essentially double loads at them, which, I mean, hell, if you're within 20 yards, you're probably going to do just fine. But I think probably the biggest reason, at least in my opinion, that TSS came about was your margin of error is just so much larger compared to what it used to be. You've got so many more BBs that somebody figured out, hey, I thought I made a good shot on it with number 5s or lead, and now with your number 9s of TSS, you've got a literal hornet's nest coming at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've talked about ducks. You've talked about turkeys. What is your favorite game animal to hunt out of all of this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I love it all. I'd have to say ducks, but
Yeah.
it's like here in South Carolina, I don't have that opportunity as much.
Yeah.
I'll go on my wood duck, a few wood duck hunts a year, and which I still love, and it's still a blast. And you just sit there and some of it, I think, is one of my favorite aspects of it is you're usually with your buddies, so you usually get to sit there and BS with them. And I think the kind of the camaraderie and stuff that goes along with it is one of my favorite things. Like I'll still go out by myself, like whatever. I'm going to shoot something, but it's still the same time as I like sitting there talking with the guys. But I mean, like I'll go sit in a deer stand and I still enjoy my my peaceful time. But now I've really kind of re-geared myself to thinking so much more for turkeys. And I've always enjoyed it. But I never had, I guess I never had like a ton of opportunity, to go do it. Like I did it in college and I killed a couple birds. And then that was, I killed my first 2 birds, like 2 months before I went to boot camp.
Oh wow.
And then I went to, I got to go have fun at Parris Island for a few months. And then I got shipped off to Hawaii. So then it was like, there was just several years where there was no hunting at all. And then got to California and started figuring out the deer and, deer, ducks, dove. And then, figure out, hey, there actually is some turkeys. There's like just pockets of turkeys in Southern California. And it's just it sucked was you would have pockets of birds that were on public land, but they weren't secrets to any, the last, like one of the last times, one of the last times I went on, I found, like 6 or 7 hens, and then there was a Jake that was with him gobbling, and I'd seen other tracks. I'm like, all right, I know there's another bird here. And I was like, yes. I was like, there's no one else here. It was like, that was like the week before the season. And then I got there the evening before and I saw him saw the hens, and I'm like, there's no other cars there. And I was like, dude, I've got this. I am set. And so I slept in my car. I woke up and there was already like 2 or 3 other vehicles there. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like that's just when I thought I had it. I mean, I had a cool hunt that morning. He was gobbling like crazy, and we played cat and mouse, several times throughout the day. And I actually called him in, but I learned a valuable lesson to just wait a little bit longer. I had come in I had made a big loot, and so I got a little sidetracked here, but I think we'll roll with it.
Yeah, come on.
Made a big loot, and I come in another spot, and I heard him fire up again where I heard him earlier, and I'm like, yes. I know he's by himself now because the hens had gotten kind of busted up, and I went and like there was literally sagebrush, like that's like all I had to like hide. So I literally like laid down up like in some sagebrush, like threw a decoy out, sat there, and I was like, all right, and then he just shut up. So I sat there for a good, I don't know, 30 minutes and just heard nothing. I'm like, he is not far away. But I was like, all right, well, I guess that's it. And I kind of moved that direction towards him, just real slow. Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything again. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's that. And I went to this tree that had a nice little green patch around it where I had seen him and the hens the evening before they went to roost. And as soon as I sat down over there, I looked back to where I was at, and he walked right through that spot.
Oh man.
Gosh, dang.
Dang.
I had a few choice words for myself. I wasn't thrilled, but so I guess to your question, I guess it's kind of turkey hunting now. But I love it all, man, and there isn't anything that hey, you want to go squirrel hunting? Yeah, let's go. Like,
yeah.
I feel you.
I would say turkeys now is really my main focus. Now, if I move somewhere else with some ducks again, then
Sure.
that may change up a little bit, but I love it.
So, did you have you always hunted public, or do you hunt some private now, or?
We have a hunting club that
Nice.
we got last year. So there's I think there's 14 of us on the club, and it's like 1,700 acres. So it's a not like a giant chunk, but it's a good chunk of land.
Heck yeah.
And I think it was only me and a buddy, and then maybe one other guy that turkey hunted last year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know we got a few more guys this year, so I don't know how that's going to go, but they logged it. They logged it all the way through.
Okay.
Last season. It really screwed things up. The birds just they got dispersed, and then they really weren't gobbling all but only a few days for the whole season. So that honestly, that hurt last year, but, and it was in California. It was all public land, which was a real challenge. Got close a couple times, and just, it never worked out. But, so I guess I haven't actually killed a bird on public ground yet, which is something I really, really strive to accomplish. It's probably not going to happen this year. I start EMT April 1st, and then we got a family trip in the middle of April. Go figure.
Who the heck planned that?
It's my father. It's my father-in-law's 60th.
Oh my goodness.
So we're going to Costa Rica. So I gotta go do some fishing. So I'm like, all right, like that's acceptable. But I told my wife, I was like, can we not have anything between mid-March and the end of April? I was like, whatever you want, May 1st. Like I'm all like, let's do it. But I was like, just nothing else. let me actually have a full turkey season.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You need
Yeah,
to
you
just
gotta
talk to
have
your
a full turkey
father-in-law
season.
and be like, "Look, dude, you've had 59 of these things. You really, I mean, come on, man. Is one more really that important?" No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hernia surgery, like April 4th. I think it was April 4th last year. So I was
dang.
out for 2 weeks, and so that hurt.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
it
Yeah.
sounded like from what I'd heard, that was the best 2 weeks of the whole season.
Mm.
Right.
So I was like, well,
Of course it
that's
would
about
be.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it would be
Uh,
the best 2 weeks of the
but
season.
then I had took my kids 410 out because I was like, well, I can still walk around, but I was like, I'm not shooting a turkey load out of a 12 gauge, so I took her little 410 with some TSS out, and
Nice.
um,
Heck yeah.
didn't get to pull the trigger, but it was still fun to tote that thing around. It weighs nothing.
Sure.
Yeah,
I love my
absolutely.
410, dude.
Oh, I do too, man. I got to watch a young man, and I mentioned this on the podcast previous, but I got to watch a young man take 2 birds back-to-back mornings last year on the youth hunt in Georgia, and it was spectacular what that TSS could do with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool to see that. I think the coolest part is just it's for the kids. It's so much easier for the kids
Yeah,
now
yeah,
shooting that stuff. Because
yeah. They
before it
can,
was like, man, you better get them close because it's
yeah,
just you got
yeah.
nothing in that little freaking black and mild of a shot shell. My buddy and I were just talking about. I was trying to show all this on the target. It was like how many more BBs you're gonna have with shooting the TSS compared to the lead. Because she
Yeah.
was like, well, she was kind of getting a little down on herself. It was like, oh, it wasn't a great shot. I'm like, hey, like that bird's still dead. But I was like, no, look at this target that I shot with the TSS. And she was like, oh, I'm like, you get a lot more. Like,
Yeah.
so it's cool to see like their confidence rise with it. And I think that's the best part.
Yeah.
She's killed a few deer now and a couple ducks. And
Nice.
so
Nice.
that's just so much more. So much, I get so much more joy of watching her do any of that kind of stuff, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
gets fired up about it too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Good.
I can't wait.
So, is it? How do I ask this? I mean, is that I guess one of the more important things to you now as a hunter, bringing in the
Yeah.
new generation?
Oh, absolutely. It's I mean, so she went on her first duck hunt. I think when she was either 2.5 or 3.5. I can't remember. Like she was just anytime I bring home ducks, she would just I wouldn't even touch. She would just pick them up, start walking around. Like this is awesome.
Nice.
And so she started. That's what she wanted to do. And she always like, Dad, when can I go hunt? When can I go hunt? When can I go hunt? And I was like, all right. So it was actually with Christian and Brody. It was on a little public land spot um, in California. And so they got there real early, make sure we got our spot. And, we got like, I remember I put her in the car and she looked at me because I'm obviously all camoed out. She goes, Dad, where's my hunting shirt? And I didn't even think about it. I'm like, you're 2.5. Like, and I was like, all right. So I went and grabbed like one of my long sleeves and like threw it on her. Essentially it's a dress.
Yeah. Right.
And so we got it all set up and we ended up shooting a few birds that day. And she had taken her earmuffs off, but like every time we shot, she had covered her ears. So I was like, all right, she's like, thinks she's fine. But like, we got in the car. She goes, Dad, that was awesome. When can we do that again? And I was like, you're going to be all right, kid.
Yeah.
So like seeing like the joy that it brings, like it's brought her is like, it's been it's so much more fun.
Sure.
And then she missed a big buck this year. I mean, a freaking stud, and it was my fault. But I felt sick about it because I was like, I could just picture her holding that deer,
Sure.
and so
Well, hey man, look, it's only gonna get bigger next year. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm hoping that thing's still hanging around. I know nobody on the club killed him. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah. If that's the case, she got her first deer mounted. Like she cried her way into that one. It was a little 7 point basket rack. Honestly,
Yeah.
John, like not much different than the one behind you.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do the European. Well, little girl got her way. We were going to the processor and she was crying. Like it meant something, not like whining, crying. It was like
Well, yeah, of course.
the shoulders and everything. And I was like, oh God. And like, I called my wife. I'm like, I'm sorry. We have to.
Yeah, hate
So,
this for you, but oh well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's expensive. Yeah, that one, I told her, I was like, hey, like any other deer you kill, we're not doing that. I was like, it's just going to be just the skull. Like, just so you know that, like, Dad can't afford to just get everything you shoot mounted.
Mhm.
But now my youngest, she just turned, how old is she now? 6. She probably know that. Yeah, she just turned 6 and she's starting to show more interest in it. And so like last summer she really got into fishing, so she really likes going fishing.
Sweet.
And now she's gone on a couple deer hunts. Been all 3 of us. So I'm hoping this year she might be actually ready to pull the trigger on something. I don't know if she'll be ready for turkey season. She's not. She is. Those two are her. They're just like they're polar opposites. She pretty much will just give you the look of like you can go and just leave me alone. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
Yeah.
And the other one wants to be involved in anything, in everything. But like when I take them to the club now, like I was shooting the other day and they were just off running around in the woods. So it's been cool, like to see like their growth with it. They like to go, hey, let's go put corn out. That like they like to go do that. Now we'll take them to the club and they'll sit on my lap and they'll they'll steer the truck. And so it's been so much fun watching them grow with that kind of stuff. And they now they're loving it. So it's for me and for all 3 of us, me, Christian, and Brody, we all have young kids. So for us, like the conservation aspect is our absolute biggest mission
Mhm.
because for us, we want there to be more animals on the landscape when our kids are older than we ever had.
Oh, yeah.
So like for ducks, for instance, Brody actually just gave me a new stat today where it's, I think it was a couple years ago, there was like roughly 12 million ducks were killed throughout the season. And roughly 10% of that had been crippled. So like there was an additional 1.2 million ducks that are crippled. And so I would say, I obviously couldn't tell you, but I'm going to go with there's probably a fairly significant amount that is due to people not patterning their guns and understanding what their shells are doing. They're just spewing BBs. So they're not making a clean, quick, I can't speak right now, ethical kill.
Yeah.
And so those birds are just getting wasted. So if we can put more of those birds into people's bags and less actually getting wasted, we're going to be putting more birds. Even if hunters actually bring home more birds, we're still going to prevent crippled birds from being lost, which over time is actually hopefully going to compound. So the way I was looking at it, I'm like, hey, if we can prevent 10% of that, if we get as many people to pattern their guns and understand what their shot's doing, if we can put 10% of that, so let's say 120,000 ducks back into the breeding population every single year over a number of years, that's probably going to start to compound and hopefully really reflect upon our bird numbers because
Yeah.
everyone talks about it where, hey, bird numbers are down, and some of it, yeah, I don't know, it's I don't know if it's always true, but there's definitely some serious speculation that bird numbers are actually dropping pretty good. So that's kind of scary to me. And it should probably scare a lot of people more than it does. So it's like, why should we not put every drop back in that bucket that we can? Because we all put money towards Delta Waterfowl, Ducks Unlimited, NWTF, and they're phenomenal organizations. But it's like when it comes to the actual hunter, they don't always want to take it upon themselves to better themselves in that aspect. And I know personally, I hate losing a bird. Like I'll spend hours looking for a single bird. Maybe not like, hey, I'm gonna spend 3 hours straight. But it means it bothers me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I haven't seen a stat in terms of crippled turkeys, but I'm sure some of that is due to the same, whether they're not paying their guns, or people just trying to make unethical length shots. And I would say that might be some of that is probably due to TSS, where it's obviously super efficient, but now guys are thinking they can take 70, 80-yard shots on birds. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure you can kill them, but that's not what you're trying to do.
Right.
You're not. I don't want to. I will never take a shot that far unless it's a bird that I think I've really hit. And I'm trying to just put one more on them. But so the conservation aspect of leaving it better than we found it is very important for us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
us too.
absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I think it all starts with pattern, like you said, patterning your gun. For waterfowl, for turkeys, for all that, because the end goal is to be good stewards of what we've been given by the good Lord, and that is to make sure we're making clean shots, clean kills, and that starts with knowing your pattern. It's just like sighting in your deer rifle. You know where that rifle is going to shoot so you can make the best shot possible. And it's very important, and I think it's overlooked, in the waterfowl and the turkey world. I think more people are going to pattern their guns for turkeys than they are for waterfowl, but I think it's equally as important because, that's what we have to do to ensure that we're shooting, the best shot for
Shooting
what our
straight.
gun's like. Yeah, shooting straight, and we know before we go to the field, hey, I'm shooting a little bit to the left. Maybe I need to shim my buttstock a little bit, to make that shoot true. There's a lot of things that play into that. So I really like what you guys are doing, and I really think it's great to have that opportunity to have different shells to try for turkey and waterfowl. And it just saves you a lot of money, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is figuring out what your gun likes, because, hey, I've got a few shotguns in there and not one of them is the same. Every one of them like different shells better. Every one of them. So that's kind of where I'm at on that is, it's very important to, like my dad always said, know your target, know where to hit that target, know what's behind your target, and make sure your gun's sighted in. So, I mean, aim small, miss small. You know what I mean?
There
I mean, let's not be like my buddy that missed and wasted 5 TSS loads on 2 turkeys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
like if you can shoot a long time with it, you're like, okay, like you should be aware that's an expensive shot, but
Yeah.
dumping a whole box of it with nothing to show for it.
Well, let's just empty the whole mag there, boys. Boom, boom, boom. Click. Oh, crap.
And we're done. Hey, look, man. Ryan, there was a time where I almost did that. Me and Ben were in Texas. We've told the story a bunch, but and I'll bore you from all the details. But the bottom line is, we had these birds come in and ride up on us, and it happened so fast. Neither me nor Ben could get our guns shouldered all the way. So listen, I'm a turkey and deer hunter. I like to be comfy. I like to get ready. I like to breathe. Maybe sip a drink. Make a sandwich. I like some time. Ben is a wing shooter. Ben is always just ready to boom, 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 boom. He's ready to rip. I am not. That's not who I am. So we're kind of sitting there, and Ben's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "I'm as ready as I'm gonna be, I guess." And he just like, pow, shoots his bird, and I get up, and I'm halfway aiming. It's halfway off my shoulder, and I just pow, pow, and I miss, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I'm in Texas. I'm filming. He shot his bird and I know in the back of my brain I got one more. And these birds, thank God, are the dumbest turkeys alive. And they just stood there. And I finally got anchored and breathed and shot. But I mean, it's the same kind of ordeal. Like, you look back on the video and I just shot left. I mean, just shot left. And I don't know. My gun definitely at that close may start out a little left. I have no idea. But dude, all I know is as I finally got the stupid thing, but oh my goodness, dude. I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie about it. I was like, uh-oh.
The crazy thing about that hunt is, John's sitting there, mine was dead, and he was sitting there, boom, boom. I was drawn down, beat on that bird's head. I was like, all right, if you miss one more time, I got 2 to back you up. and he stone cold rolled it. So I was like, well, we ain't got to do that today.
Yeah.
I was not about to let him leave Texas with no turkey.
Oh man,
ain't happening.
So yeah,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, you would have never let that one down either.
No, he still don't. I killed the darn thing.
He did kill the darn thing. He sure did.
He still gives me crap about it, which is fine. That's just dudes being dudes,
Yeah, absolutely. That's just who I am.
I've seen something on Facebook, and I don't know about it. So I see people with some of these patterns at like 40 yards that are unbelievably tight.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, I've thought about it. I'm like, dude, like, it's just at a closer distance, it just doesn't leave you any room for air.
No.
Nope. And I don't like. I think mine's a Carlson's. I think it's a 660. I don't really pay attention to. I'm very basic when it comes to stuff. I have an 870 Express as my turkey gun.
Nice.
That's all you need, brother.
Yeah, one of the best in the biz.
I bought it brand new from Bass Pro for like $300. Like,
yeah, heck yeah.
But I don't know if is that is that a bothersome thing to you guys, or does it? Sometimes I think people are just trying to just have the absolute tightest pattern at 40 yards as they possibly can, and I'm like, sometimes I think they're just doing it just to have a tight grouping on paper where like, hey, that looks great, but in reality, it's not exactly what you want. I don't. That's just a thought that I've had recently.
Well, the whole game.
I'll let you start and then I'll answer.
All right, cool. So the whole thing for me on killing a turkey is, you're beating the turkey, and because like I've mentioned before, you're getting the tom to come to you, which is totally backwards from how it usually goes.
Yes,
the hen comes to him. So. I don't want a super tight pattern at 40 yards because I want to shoot them at 20. I want to shoot them at 10. I want to get them. That's my goal, is to get them right into the decoys. That's what I like to do. But now I think it's all personal preference too. I mean, I'm also the guy that loves to bring home turkey nuggets, to eat. So it's like, I've got this cat and mouse game side of me. And then I've also got the killer side of me that's like, I want to eat. I want to feed my family. It's kind of this constant thing that I go back and forth with is, man, what do I do today? It's like, well, just try your best to get him as close as you can. And if not, cut him off, get him that way, whatever. You'll figure it out. Just play it by ear. So that's kind of what I think about that.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of, I don't want to, I do want a tight pattern. I just, I don't want it to be too tight, right? Like mine kind of is, because, if you get now, like the Texas story, dude, those birds were like
5
6
yards.
steps. I mean,
That's hard, no matter what.
So it's kind of like, you're kind of just shooting a golf ball at it, hoping to God you hit it. So, I kind of had that going on. But, as far as me, I think on paper, like my gun doesn't pattern the best, I would say on paper. But, dude, I've shot birds at 60 yards with my gun. So it's like, okay, I know how effective it is because I've done it. So I don't want to say I don't care how it looks on paper, but I don't like comparing it to something like you're saying, where it's like, dude, they have so many more pellets. It's like, that's cool. But, at the end of the day, I still kill birds. And I don't, and I don't really, I don't want to say I don't miss often, because I definitely do miss, but I've never consistently with my gun just missed birds because it's off pattern. I mean, I miss them because they're real close, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it's like, all right, that's great, but that's from a sitting position or with no nerves, or from a bench.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, you start shaking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now exactly.
So
this
you might
pattern is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it's, I don't know. I mean, like, if that's what you're comfortable with, then I mean, I don't care. Like, go for it. But it's just I see it. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like that's I would rather have a pattern that's like 15 inches wide of just like I said, a hornet's nest compared to a fist coming through, just because of just the margin of error.
Well, and then is it, if you're talking about ducks, I would say, and you guys know more about ducks than I do, but you kind of want a wider range just for a little bit of error, or maybe you're not ahead of the bird as much as you would like to be because it came in at mock Jesus, and you kind of just had time to get it as close as you could before it got too far away. I mean,
it's not a stationary target. Yeah, you have to have a little bit more spread. Like I had, I shot a load. I think it was Boss. It was the War Chief, and it was honestly like at 20 yards. It was too tight. And I was like, oh my God, the pattern, like phenomenal. But I was like, that's just, for me at that distance, especially around here, like that's too tight. But we were getting ready to go to Arkansas, for duck and geese. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try that out with my full choke. And I shot it at 40 yards. I was like, I want to see what it does. And I was like, that's my goose load. I was like, with a full choke, the Boss 2 3/4 inch War Chiefs, number 5s. First 2 geese I freaking shot at were a little bit farther. I think they were probably both right about 40 yards, honestly. Both stone dead. And I was like, all right, like I'm set. And I think for us, the biggest thing is just really just knowledge of your shot. And I'd say more so for the waterfowl world, like understanding how far away like 40 yards is to really make a shot. Like that's not a close distance, when you're trying to judge all of the factors. But it's just really understanding what you're going out there, what tool you're going out there with. And it's crazy to see, like, once you start putting different shells on paper at different yardages, you really start to understand what is actually happening. Like I text Brody every time I shoot a new shell, or a different distance or different choke or whatever it is. And every time you're messing with something, it's really eye opening to see it.
Yeah.
So I hadn't actually ever had a chance to shoot the Longbeard XRs, and I had one of our packs. So I shot that, and I see people talk about it all the time, but I shot it at 30, and I was like that. I was honestly very happy with it.
Yeah. That's what
So
I shoot.
I'm like, I'd go to the woods every day of the week with that. But I'm shooting. I'll actually be shooting TSS for the first time this year. With Salt Creek. They're out of Utah. He does a phenomenal job. It's all hand loaded TSS. So his stuff is great. So
Nice.
I shot that as well, and I was very happy with that as well.
Okay.
But it's I shot that and his 410 stuff. So me and my daughter will be shooting Salt Creek this year,
Nice.
and I'm excited for it.
Sure. Heck yeah.
I'm not a big fan of change. I like to just continue to use the same stuff, but that is one thing I am excited for, and it's especially after. I mean, like I understood last year, like the Super X, like I understood what it was going to do. But it is, I gotta say, it is nice sometimes to have, depending on your situation, just that little bit of extra help when you can get it.
Heck yeah. So I've got one more question, and then I'm sure Ben's got another one. Ben likes to talk, Ryan. I don't know if you know this about him. Ben is a talker, so I'm sure he'll have something else to say. But
Yeah.
are you guys ever thinking about, or have you already thought about doing one of two things? Either getting with some like choke tube companies and throwing in a couple different chokes to try with the shells. And have you ever thought about doing the deer hunting side of things and maybe throwing in just a couple different brands and maybe different grains and have like a deer box?
Yes, yes, to both questions. There's definitely some stuff in the works.
Nice.
So we're trying to kind of master one section of it first before moving on. But we've been talking with Indian Creek a little bit, so I think there's some potential there for that. In terms of having different choke tubes, as well, and potentially some other choke tube companies as well.
Cool.
And it's gonna be the similar, I would say, a similar conversation as I had with every single ammo manufacturer I spoke with at NWTF, where I will not push one product more than the other. I don't care what you shoot. For us, it's all about getting the most effective tool into the hunter's hands to take with him to the field. Like whatever that's going to be, whether that's the cheapest lead load possible. If that pattern's good on your gun, hell man, go shoot it. If it's super expensive TSS with a super nice choke, or it's just a factory modified choke, whatever it's going to be, we honestly don't care.
Right.
And it was really refreshing to see the reactions from the ammo companies themselves, because they were like, no, like we get it. And it's, I think, probably the biggest reason that I would have like those interactions and the reactions from them was, at the end of the day, those guys are just duck hunters and turkey hunters. So like they immediately got it. So the more partnerships that we can get is only going to broaden our horizons and allow hunters to try more things to be more effective. And like you guys, I'm sure have seen 1,000 times, choke recommendations, shell recommendations, like there's so many different things that it's kind of overwhelming, and you're like you don't know until you've tried it. And I would say the biggest reason the guys are selling stuff, they're like, oh, I'm selling the choke tube. It's like, well, why are you selling it? It's like, well, it's probably didn't do what they wanted it to do, so now they had the hassle of buying it. Now they've shot it, and now they're like, well, that's not what I want. So now they're selling it. Now they're freaking losing money on it. Chances are, because most people aren't going to buy a used choke tube for the same price. So it's just like you're wasting. There's a lot of money wasted there. So there's some stuff coming down the pipeline, and some of it's going to take a little bit longer. But I think we're going to get some other stuff in order prior to the Delta Waterfowl show. So we have a lot of big purchases there that are going to be made here in the upcoming months. But July 26th through the 28th, there in Baton Rouge will be the Delta show. So we're going to have duck loads, turkey loads, and then there might be a couple other things that have been discussed that may make an appearance there.
Sweet.
That's awesome. Well, John, you actually covered all the questions very well. I am for once out of questions. So it's a shocker. Goodness. I know it's a shocker, but I have asked everything that I wanted to ask, and I think we've covered everything very well.
Perfect.
So well, sorry, I probably stole your thunder. I probably kind of rambled on a little bit with some of the stuff. I get a little carried away.
Hey, no, that's what this is all about, man.
You didn't steal my thunder at all, my friend. Nothing. You didn't steal nothing. I can promise you that. I'd tell you if you did.
So, yeah, that's right.
He's got that beautiful beard to fall back on.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cushy. It's there.
So, all I've got is my firefighter stash. That's it.
That's the best stash I think I've ever seen. That's a good one.
It's
my wife calls it a porn stash.
Well,
that's great.
I mean, yeah.
So, I'm like, you're lucky. I'm like, you're a lucky woman.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, where can everybody find you guys? What socials, website, all that kind of stuff?
So Facebook, Pattern Pros USA. Instagram, just Pattern Pros. And then our website is patternprosusa.com. And it's just come see us. If you're tired of actually wasting money on spending on buying a different box of shells, come check us out. For guys who shoot Migra for waterfowl, Migra came into the turkey world, as I'm sure most of you know by now. So they will be in our TSS box for 12 gauge and 20 gauge.
Awesome.
So that'll be coming to the website. The 12 will be coming to the website, I think this week, and hopefully the 20 gauge. We're still working through some stuff, some paperwork stuff, but so there's definitely some stuff that some guys haven't tried before. And it's going to be significantly cheaper than you buying even just a couple different boxes of shells. So if you want to save some money and actually find a shell that pattern's right for you, then come check us out.
Well, there we go. There you go with that. And don't forget, everybody, for all things Rooted Television, Rooted Podcast, go to our website at rootedtelevision.com to get episodes, new releases, and merch. We have a pile of merch on there, shirts, hats, hoodies, everything in between. And with that, John, the redneck is out.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Boom. For all things Rooted Podcast and Rooted Television, and I mean hats, shirts, hoodies, and other merch, check out our friends at CH Lone Star Pro and the link that is in our description.